How you doing? It's Sandesh here. This is my first live stream, so the thing is, yeah. Thanks for watching. If you are watching this, I am nervous because I've never done this before. But here we go. I'm gonna. Sorry about that. Let me just fix the camera. There you go. All right. Here we go. Let's see if you can see my microphone. There we go. All right. I'm gonna cover in. I'm gonna be. This is more of a like a year in review, to be honest. But it's gonna be the various things that personally to me I found very interesting and I suppose you could say shocking too, because some of these stuff are shocking, shocking in the sense of yeah, like oh god, that's so horrible, but also like pleasantly shocking as well. But here we go. I'm not gonna waste any more time. I'm gonna get into it now. Okay, the first thing I'm gonna talk about is um, Trump's Trump's presidency, on the fact that he won, um, and his second time, excuse me, and despite everything, him getting assassinated, assassination attempts twice, um, all the bullshit lies that they tried to do him, all the bullshit charges that they tried to put on him, none of that worked because the thing is, people were finally waking up. Even there were even people who were Democratic voters were even like, you know what, they got sick and tired of all the fear mongering and what the media was doing, and and you can also say what a lot of celebrities were also doing as well. I mean, like this was the year of when pretty much people were saying, you know what, Hollywood, you don't matter. Not just Hollywood, but even you could just say celebrities in general. You do not matter anymore as far as like your opinion matters because they're just so bloody out there in their own bubble, and it's so surprising that they call Trump a racist. But the thing is, he got the black vote. He got the I can't. Did he get the Jewish vote? And let me know in the comments. He got the I'm sure he got the Muslim vote. He got the Latino vote. I mean, he even got the black vote as far as like younger voters. It's it was just so it's just so shocking how they still want to call him a racist, and they won't admit to their own failings. And just the meltdown was just it was laughable, but it was just like also sad as well. And this whole meltdown was caused by them. They caused all this to happen, and it was all just down to their plan to just divide and conquer, divide us against each other, and to and just to have society become a mess. And you see the way, and I'm sure you saw the video of Obama talking to black guys, and he's basically doing a Bill Cosby on them. And even they like wouldn't even take in any more of Obama's nonsense either. Anyway, I'm gonna talk. This is the first one about Trump's presidency. This is from NPR. Okay, how Trump won a second term as president in 2024. Um, that obviously this is from November 6th, 2024. But the thing is, I just before I get into it now. Okay, in one of his final rallies at the iconic Madison Square Garden in New York. Obviously, this is dated back then. Um, Former President Donald Trump delivered a ramped up version of his typical stump speech, promising his strongest economy, the most secure borders, and safest cities. I just want to say off the bat, I just love the fact how they tried to how they tried to shame Trump, even though that they did all spread all these lies. And look at Robert De Niro. You see how Robert De Niro was acting like he was acting like a drunk homeless person. The way he was just ranting and raving, he's just, he just, it was just so funny to watch, but also stupid as well. He also rallied against adversaries he sees as the enemy from within and described his opponent, Vice President Harris, as a bad person with a low IQ. She doesn't just have a low IQ, or she didn't doesn't just have a low IQ. She honestly, she honestly to me looked like someone who drank a lot and also I'm sure took and took pills as well. Because I mean, a normal person just does not act like that. Um, we're running against something far bigger than Joe Biden or Kamala Harris, something far more powerful than them, which is a massive, vicious, radical left machine that runs today's Democratic Party. Trump told the crowd. Obviously, he won. He ultimately won. But the thing is, if you notice, and now all of a sudden, Biden is now sending more missiles and weapons to Ukraine, and I'm sure he did to Israel as well, because it's obvious that they want this that they want these wars to get a lot worse. So then, by the time Trump gets sworn in, it's gonna get to the point where Trump's gonna have no choice but because it's obvious that they want World War III to happen, and it's obvious that's not what Trump wants, because on his first presidency, Trump didn't start any new wars. All the only thing he did was carry on wars on which Bush and Obama was doing, but he didn't start any like brand new ones himself. In his return to power, Trump defied so many expectations, surviving repeated scandals and multiple indictments. He is the first convicted felon to win the White House. See, this is the thing. I don't consider him a felon, because the thing is, those charges were ultimately dropped, and also those scandals caused by the machine that Trump is and the Democrats that Trump's talking about. And also the whole thing about Stormy Daniels. I mean, that was proven nothing but a blatant lie as well. And now apparently ABC now owes Trump millions in dollars. So the thing is, they just caused this on themselves. And Trump's overall closing focus on the economy and immigration ultimately resonated with enough Americans, were more than the message delivered by Harris, who called for unity and warned that Trump was a petty tyrant who was obsessed with revenge. No, what Trump wanted to do simply was just to bring normality to the country again. Because the thing is, there's no way you could disagree with this. When the Democrats, when Biden and took over, and so did Harris, it got a lot worse. And for Harris and for Harris to call Trump a petty tyrant is pretty much the pot calling the kettle black, as far as I'm concerned, because cause she pretty much goes on like a tyrant. And Trump and Biden and her are the ones that were locking up people on these stupid charges, and they're the ones that are pushing this and they're the ones that are pushing this woke message for unity, when they're the ones that where they were the ones that were causing the divide in the first place. Trump doubled down on his hardline border stance and using increasingly dehumanizing language on describing immigrants, but accusing them of poisoning the blood of the country, and falsely claiming a Venezuelan street gang was taking over the country. He was not wrong. It's so funny that NPR is saying that he's falsely claiming this, but the thing is, if you notice, I noticed this on things like Fox News, and even in the UK, they're starting to be crimes happening, and they're happening from illegal immigrants themselves, not from normal citizens. Normal citizens. While there's some are, the majority of them are the ones that are caused by immigrants. And the thing is, the reason they keep on happening is because they don't get properly arrested. So he's not wrong. The election results show that Americans were less concerned about Trump's rhetoric and instead longed for a change. That's the thing. He promised change, and change is what they want. They want the sort of things on where America's going to benefit, not this whole LGBTQ thing. These woke political talking points is not going to benefit working class Americans. It's just not going to, because they don't care about that sort of thing. Polling just before election day showed Harris was not able to seize the mantle as part of the Biden administration. Administration. Voters like Dale Roberts in Georgia saw Harris as an extension of President Biden. That's all she was. Harris has got the same policies that Biden did. There's no two ways about it, said the 60-year-old former state trooper. No matter how she lies or tries to get out of it, she can't wiggle out of it. She should have changed the policies or tried to change policies while she was vice president. And by the way, I just want to say that it also came out of the fact that if she basically if she said, I'm going to do a ceasefire on Israel, it came out of the fact that 60 to 80% Americans would have voted on her. She would have got a lot more votes than she did. But the thing is, obviously, that's not what they wanted. They wanted these wars to carry on. So I'm going to get into another thing. This is on Reuters, and it's about the final days, how Biden and his inner circle blew it. U.S. President Joe Biden's decision to end his re-election campaign on Sunday followed a series of strategic missteps by his campaign team and White House aides that amplified concerns that the 81-year-old president wouldn't be able to win in November's election or run the country for another 4 years. With his declining health, which is apparent to everyone, how the hell was he even going to be able to do another 4 years? He was getting worse and worse and worse as the year went on. And when he had his first debate with Trump, he was all over the place. And even Trump couldn't ignore it. Even he was like, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. Biden's halting performance at the June 27th presidential debate against Republican candidate Donald Trump pushed even some of his closest allies to question whether he could endure a full campaign, and aided gasoline to a smoldering Democrat Party movement questioning the wisdom of his second term. Within days, Biden went from the party's figurehead to a liability. He became the first sitting president to stand down from a possible re-election since Lyndon B. Johnson in 1968. These were some of the key moments that led to Biden's downfall. The debate in April to June. Biden himself set the debate in motion after he told the radio show host Howard Stern in April that he'd debate Trump, despite worries from some of his Democratic allies that debate might do a little to improve his chances or even cast an unflattering light on him. Some Biden aides thought that they had scored a coup in agreeing to a June debate. They worked with broadcaster CNN to shape the rules in what they thought was their favor and agreed on May 15th to two debates, including the first on June the 27th. An earlier debate was served Biden well, some aides thought, convincing voters that there was no other anti-Trump option in the race, but also cushioning the blow of any mediocre performance by the president. The format, no audience to pump up Trump's punchlines, no third-party candidates, moderators they could trust, and a mute button on the microphone what they thought favored Biden's style. In essence, basically, they'll be in full control. Biden gets to talk with no interruptions, and also in the middle when Trump's trying to talk, they can interrupt him whenever they want to. That's what they meant. Um, Biden flew to Europe. Jet lag, June 7th to the 27th. Biden flew to Europe twice and to the West Coast over a 14-day period before taking just a few days to rest at his vacation home in Rehoboth Beach in Delaware. Biden was tired and dragging by the end of the travel, according to several people who observed him during this period. He and his aides headed to Camp David for focused prep sessions on June 21st, where they were peppered Biden with details, then followed up with mock debates for the better part of 7 days. Yeah, and you could also say at the same time, well, hang on, what about Biden crushing and crushing unions? Because the thing is, he also did that as well, and also, what else did? There's obviously other stuff that Biden did, that Biden did that also hurt his chances as well, and also that's the the Hunter Biden laptop. Everyone knew that as far as the Hunter Biden laptop, the fact is that was of the fact that it was true, and the fact is there were and pretty much I'm guaranteed the American public knew that the White House were pretty much basically trying to cover it all up, because the thing is, I think it was on the Hunter Biden laptop, we ended up finding out that there was a video of Hunter Biden. He was smoking crack, I think he was, and he was even weighing his crack as well. It was like this family is this family is absolutely messed up, and you can also add to that of the fact that look when Trump became president the second time, what did Biden do? He started to end up he's starting to now give out pardons. The first one was his son, Hunter Biden. You think it was the pardon was just for Hunter Biden because of the charges, but all the only thing that charging was the gun possession and just smoking crack. But the thing is, they clearly didn't charge him on what they should have charged him in the first place, and that was making illegal deals in Ukraine for that energy company in Ukraine, on where his dad got in the job. But because there was a video on Jimmy Dore, and he was talking about this at the time, and I remember. And Hunter Biden's former business partner was even saying it was just all about favors and just funneling money back to his dad. And when you look at that pardon, look at the date of when it was set. It was set from 2014 to 2024. If that pardon was only about the gun charge and the smoking crack, it would have been from 2017, I think. But they put it all the way back to 2014. That should tell you all you need to know, to be honest, of the fact that it wasn't just so much about pardoning Hunter Biden. It was pretty much about covering Joe Biden's tracks as well, because he kept on saying multiple times, Biden did, I respect the decision of the judge and the courts when they charged Hunter Biden. He says, I won't interfere in any way, shape, or form. He said that multiple times. So did the White House. And what did he do? He ultimately didn't trust it. it's like no wonder people had enough of the of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, because they've written. I mean, Kamala Harris was not going to be a good pick for presidency, and I even said that she was not going to be a good pick. Um, anyway, I'll end it there for the as far as I was talking about Trump and about Biden. The next thing I'm going to talk about is about the Paris Olympics, and if you know about the sham that ended up being, because as far as I'm concerned, this is just me. The Paris Olympics ended up becoming nothing but ended up becoming a joke. It ended up becoming a laughing stock towards the athletes of the Olympics who train to be at the Olympics, because whenever you look at whenever I mean for starters, look at the opening ceremony of when they were just pretty much outright mocking Christ, the Last Supper. You don't have to be I mean, you don't have to be religious to know that that was just absolute that was just an absolute stupidity and idiocracy, because you got these fat people there also. Is like, why don't you do opening ceremony, or where you celebrate athleticism and athletes in general, because isn't that what the opening celebration is supposed to be? And and then they ended up being like, oh, no, we don't want to mock Christ, we don't want to mock Christ. That was not the intention. No, it's clear what your intention was. I'm gonna read an article about it. Here we go. The opening ceremony of the Olympic Games in France provoked a backlash from Christian and Muslim religious groups after accusations that one scene was a mockery of Leonardo. No. Yeah, Leonardo da Vinci. Sorry. Um, Painting of the Last Supper, which depicts one of the final episodes of Jesus' life before his sacrifice. On Sunday, the organizing committee of the games. Now, this is obviously back then, but I'm just like recollecting myself. Of the games, said that the scene depicting during the opening ceremony on Friday evening had nothing to do with the figure of Jesus, who was revered in Christianity and Islam. They're obviously going to they were obviously trying to cover themselves, but the thing is, anyone who saw that, even again, like I said, even if you were not religious, everyone knew what you were doing, because if it wasn't aimed at Christianity, then why the hell why the hell did you depict the Last Supper then? Because otherwise, because there was no reason for you to do if you there was no reason for you to do that if it had nothing to do with Christ, but it had everything to do with Christ, because that was what you wanted to do. The offending scene, which was performed by colorfully dressed people, including drag queens, was a depiction of Greek gods enjoying a party, and not of Jesus Christ and his followers, stated the organizers. Yeah, it's like, yeah, nice try. You got drag queens, and you got these idiots around the table with food on there. It's like, yeah, this is obviously, it's a parody of the Last Supper. That's what you were doing, and you were hoping no one was going to get, and you was hoping no one was going to get pissed off about it. But it's like, no, I don't think so. There was never any intention to disrespect any religious group whatsoever, said communications director Annie Deschamps. I think that's what it says. Nonetheless, the anger over the scene has spread as far as the Middle East, with Christian and Muslim groups expressing outrage. I would disagree. I don't think it was just in the Middle East, and I don't think it was just Christian and Muslim groups that expressing outrage. I think there was people in it, not just in this. I think it was worldwide. To be honest, There's obviously going to be people which I don't understand why going, oh, what was so wrong with it? What was so wrong with it? The thing is, let me tell you this: what if they did that and they outright took the Mickey out of the LGBTQ community? Because if they did that, then everyone would have made a big hullabaloo about it. And don't tell me that wouldn't have happened, because you know for a fact that that would have happened. So the thing is, just like I said, the woke community the woke community are a bunch of hypocrites, because when they say that people get offended for no reason of us doing this, and when if we made fun of you in a light-hearted sort of way, you would take it so personally. So yeah, nice try. The leader of Egypt's largest Christian in denomination, the Coptic Church, condemned the opening ceremony as blasphemy. That's the thing; it was blasphemy. I'm not religious, and even I know it's blasphemy. Um, Pope Tewodros II said in a statement that the ceremony seemed to contradict the Olympic Charter and its core values. That's what I'm saying. That opening ceremony had absolutely nothing to do with the Olympics whatsoever. Imagine that opening ceremony. Imagine they did that as the halftime show for the NFL. Imagine that they did that. You see my point. It doesn't. No matter how much they try to justify this, it doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense to do this whatsoever. And this blasphemy demands a clear and sincere apology from the organizers of the Paris 2024 Olympics to all Christians who were deeply offended by this regrettable scene, he said. Have you noticed that the thing is, it's the Christians are the ones who are the ones that are they who they are targeting. They don't target to me. It's just me. It doesn't seem to me that they target anyone else and don't target anyone else, even Muslims. It's pretty much Christians as far as like mocking a religion. Um, it marred what should have been a global celebration of sport, bringing joy and happiness to all participants and spectators. All right. Now it carried on, and you know for a fact it carried on when it came to the women's boxing, and I'm sure you know where I'm going with this. Um, you know about Imain Khalif and the whole thing about her, and it's pretty obvious, and it's pretty obvious. Look, just to me, she's a man, and she's obviously she is a man, and the thing is, she ended up, and to me, just me, it was like they were trying to portray domestic violence on a woman, on a female who clearly is not going to have the advantage over a man who wants to say that they're a woman. No person with common sense is ever going to say that Iman Khalif is a woman. How does that person look like a woman when they're clearly a man? Or even if they're born a man and then want to transition themselves into a woman, well, guess what? You're still going to have the DNA of a man. No plastic surgery is ever going to be able to change the DNA in your body. It just doesn't matter. Your DNA, you were biologically made originally as a man. So the thing is, don't try to say that you're not a man anymore when you know you are. And there was also I think there was a Chinese boxer as well, and the same thing happened there. Like I said, that there's and like I said, it ended up carrying over into the Olympics itself. This wasn't even just for the opening ceremony, and the fact that the next one is going to be in Los Angeles, you know for a fact it's going to be a lot worse than the next Olympics is. If anything, yeah, it's going to be far more nonsensical than this. It it should get better, but it's not going to be. In this instance, on where the old saying is, yeah, it can only get better. It can only get better. It can't get worse. In this case, it's going to be it can't get better. It can only get worse, and that's what's going to end up happening. Um, anyway, I'm gonna talk about Concord, the PlayStation game. If you're a gamer, I'm a gamer myself, but obviously you don't need to be a gamer to pretty much know what the hell happened. Now the thing is, I've been a gamer since the third generation, to be honest. And I gotta say this was the thing where I saw such a crash and burn on a game. It just bombed like it just bombed like in a way I'd never seen it done before, and and the fact that Sony spent $200 million on this over an 8 year period, and the fact that Herman Hulse he wanted to spread there was a report on there, and he wanted to spread toxic positivity, meaning that even the developers, let's say the developers knew that this game was going to be bad at launch, or even in beta testing, they weren't allowed to outright say it. And this what I'm saying. Management at PlayStation is a absolute is now part of the major problem of what's wrong with PlayStation, as far as I'm concerned, and it's spilled over into the Pro, because the thing is, there's all these problems with their own um, uprising resolution, I suppose you could say. Like their own like their own patching of their PS5 games, the PS5 Pro patches. We keep on seeing all these issues that have been happening, and it's been obvious that the thing is, the PS5 Pro shouldn't. If they wanted the PS5 Pro to come out, it should have come out. I say maybe in a couple of years' time, 2 to 3 years' time, at least that way the technology would have been mature enough, and it would have had enough time to be like, okay, now it's absolutely ready. But now upper management and their shareholders wanted to obviously rush this out. And the thing is, I honestly don't think it's selling as well as Sony wants to say it's selling, to be honest, because there are people who are disappointed on I mean, people that have bought the PS5 Pro, and there's no way there isn't any of them that are disappointed on what the hell they've been seeing. There is no way. And it's just a reflection. That game is a reflection of what is wrong with Sony's management. When Jim Ryan was gone, Herman Hulse should have been gone right alongside him. But um, I don't even think the other CEO was going to far any better. So um, PlayStation is going to be, as far as I'm concerned, I think they're going to be for a rough ride in the future. In the short term, we might not see it, but I honestly think in the long term, we are going to see it, because there are so many other games that they're going in development, and we know nothing about it. They have not showed anything. They have not even talked about it. Ghost of Yote was probably the only. No, Ghost of Yote and Death Stranding 2 are the only two big games, first party games, that I can think of that are coming out next year. And I can't even think of any of the PS5 games that are first party that are coming out done by them. Done by them. I mean, um, so yeah, I'm gonna talk about an article now. It's gonna be them trying to, and they're gonna be reflecting on what the hell happened. Okay, Sony's president, Hiroki Totoki, has reflected on the brief release and failure of the company's live service flop in Concord. Oh, and I just want to say, um, You knew it was bad on when not long after it was released, because even in the when people playing the beta, it did not do good there, and it did not and it didn't things did not improve even when on release. And you knew it got so bad on when they were offering refunds, and also on the fact that when if you obviously you're going to have it on your trophy list, they just completely took it off their server, so it won't even show up on anyone's profile. That just tells you all you need to know how bad that game was. That just tells you. And that's also another thing of, you know what, digital content, you don't own it. Or the fact that they was able to take it off not just your trophy list, but also of your digital games list on PS on PlayStation. Anyway, Concord was the debut game from Firewalk Studios, which on its announcement promised players a unique universe of vibrant worlds. That game just came off generic as hell, to be honest. It felt like it was trying to be Guardians of the Galaxy, and they couldn't even do that right. However, despite high hopes from Sony, the game failed to take off, and after a lackluster launch, the sci-fi shooter was taken offline just 2 weeks after its PS5 and PC debut. In a Q&A following Sony's latest financial report, management was asked more about Concord and the company's live service push. Here, Totoki said events from recent months had been a learning experience. Currently, we are still in the process of learning, Totoki said via an interpreter, thanks to Video Games Chronicle. And basically, with regards to new IP, of course, you don't know the result until you actually try it. No, what this game needed a lot of testing. It needed a lot of testing. It just needed a lot of game test and play testing. I bet you there wasn't much play testing, to be honest. They just wanted to shove it out there and just hope for the best. So for us, for our reflection, we probably need to have a lot of gates, including user testing or internal evaluation, and the timing of each gates. And then we need to bring them forward, and we should have done those gates much earlier than we did. Also, we have a siloed organization, so going beyond the boundaries of these organizations in terms of development and also sales. I think that we could have. I think that I think that could have been much smoother. And then going forward in our own titles and in third-party titles, we do have many different windows. We do want to be able to select the right and optimal window so that we can deploy them on our own platform without cannibalization, so that we can maximize our performance in terms of title launches. You notice when Sean Layden was in charge of well, when Andrew House and then ultimately Sean Layden took over as PlayStation, that the thing is, PlayStation at that point, it felt a lot more fun, to be honest, because the thing is, they knew that they were like, you know what, let's do this single player push and let's not rock the boat. And that's not what they did. Clearly, obviously, Sony rocked the boat way too many times this generation. To be honest, I honestly think this generation has been a disappointment so far. I honestly think so, and it came out that Jim Ryan, because a lot of the bad decisions were because of Jim Ryan. Excuse me, but also it came out that Jim Ryan, the PS5 Pro was what was supposed to come out. Was supposed to come out. Well, if that's the case, they just pretty much nickel and dimed everyone, and um, anyone that bought it, and also they pretty much no, no, I was right the first time. They pretty much nickel and dimed everyone because there was no reason for the base PS5, and then especially since the PS5 Pro was what Jim Bryan really wanted out there. So yeah, Sony pretty much. as far as Sony lying to their own fan base, they pretty much done it on a next level bullshit level as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, so and the next one I'm going to talk about is the rise of um, Asian game developers that are not Japanese, and that obviously includes Korean and Chinese. But I'm sure that they're not the one, just the only ones. Um, and I think where I'm going this, like with games like Liza P and Black Myth Wukong, but I'm sure there's others. Like for example, also Lost Souls aside as well. Here we go. I'm going to be reading from an article about that. The rise of East, why Chinese and Korean AAA games are breaking through now. Two of the biggest gaming markets in the world have made relatively little impact upon the West to date. That's about to change. Black Myth Wukong is one of the biggest games of the year. A new wave of Chinese and South Korean AAA titles turned heads at this summer's major gaming events. Steam's wishlist top 20 is currently one-fifth occupied by games from these two rising powers. After years of making quiet inroads into Western markets, are Chinese and South Korean AAA titles reaching a tipping point? Are we entering an exciting new era of cross-cultural influence in the industry as a fresh crop of East Asian game producers become household names over here? We think so, and here's why. The sheer size of the Chinese and Korean games market is one reason to believe their global influence can only grow. All right, let's see. In the US, there's 209.8 million players. In China, wow, 696.5 million players. Wow, that's unbelievable. It's like yeah, no wonder there's serious potential. There's serious potential there. And South Korea, 33.3 million, but obviously that's gonna obviously improve. Some analysis state that China has already surpassed UK as the world's biggest market, and at least by player numbers, it is no contest. Meanwhile, South Korea's revenues outstrip every country in the West bar the US. So, in other words, both markets are easily big enough to support a strong domestic games industry. Ambitious firms will always seek opportunities to expand their market abroad, and an imperative that's only sharpened by structural challenges at home. In the Chinese case, major publishers such as Tencent, NetEase, and Miyoho have been investing in satellite operations in North America, Europe, Japan, South Korea, and other Southeast Asian countries. The unpredictable nature of government regulation in China is one significant motivation. Yeah, and also I'm trying to think what else is going to come out, and that's it. Phantom Blade Zero, that's also one of them. I'm trying to think, is that Chinese made or is it Korean? I can't remember. I can't remember which who was making that. But I'm sure and there was another one that was announced at Xbox's event, their summer one at E3. Well, their E3 show this year. I just can't remember what the name is. In the comments, let me know. And yeah, and this one said, and I honestly think these games are getting popular because the thing is that I think gamers want some more um and they want someone else new to come in and make great games, because the thing is, I will say this, um so far on the PS5, and there are quite a few games on the PS5 that are pretty disappointing. To me, the PS5 hasn't like really wowed us, and also there has not been a game so far on where it's like really pushed the PS5. and I thought it would have. I thought it would have happened already, and honestly thought it would have happened already. And the fact that there were a lot of games still coming out for PS4 should tell you a lot that gamers are not ready to call it quits on the PS4 just yet, because there is no discernible reason to just outright quit your PS4 yet. There really isn't. And give one good reason. Oh, just because of the PS5 Pro. Because with the PS5 Pro, you gotta spend $1,000 on the console, or £1,000 in UK pounds on the console anyway, to eat, and that includes getting the disk drive, and even if you want a vertical stand, but also you got to spend like probably £4,000 or $5,000 or $5,000 on a really good TV, just so you can experience it. And with the current climate of how the economy is at the moment, whenever it's the US economy, or the European economy, there are people. I mean, there are people struggling to pay food, pay rent, and like their bills. And so the thing is, they're obviously going to have to wonder what's going to be. What am I going to prioritize? Spending a few thousand on a TV, or spending 1,000 on and 1,000 on a console, or should I just think about looking after myself for the looking after myself for the month or the rest of the year? Because because the thing is, like I said, I don't think the PS5 Pro is selling as well as Sony wants to say it is. Anyway, the next thing I'm going to talk about. Okay. Next thing I'm going to talk about is about superhero films, and the fact that is 2024 the worst year for superhero films. Honestly think. Now, the article I'm reading from is going to try to say the answer may surprise you, but I honestly think it is one of them. Um, Here we go. Talk to a movie geek long enough and you'll eventually hear about the most famous candidates for the best years ever for movies. 99, 1939, 1971 are always go-to choices for years when cinematic storytelling was at its peak. Superhero movies also had especially strong years, 2008 to 2018. But what about years when things go south for feature films? Those are stretches of history whispered about in hushed, terrified whispers. I don't think they're talked about as whispers. I don't know what the hell this article's talking about. So far, for superhero movies devotees, 2024 is shaping up to be one of those infamous years. And the last 11 months have delivered titles like The Crow, which which is nonsensical and stupid, and which bombed. The Joker, fully the Joker 2. I'll just call it the Joker 2, bombed, and Madam Web also bombed, and you can also include in Craven and the Craven Hunter film that also bombed too. And by the way, Sony have also said that I think that their webless Spider Verse, or which Spider Man was not going to have anything to do with their universe. They cancelled it, and it's like, yeah, I'm not even surprised. And even you can also, and by the way, you can also include the Venom films as well. So it's like, what was the actual point of this universe? There was no point. Not to mention a slew of underwhelming direct-to-video superhero titles. Our moviegoers living through a history in the making. Is 2024 truly the worst year ever for superhero movies? To me, no. It's one of them. 2024 is one of them. I would also have to say last year also, and 2020 and 2022. It mostly hit superhero films a lot, to be honest, when you think about it. As far as Joker 2, no one asked for a musical. They could have done the same thing and just not make it a musical. I honestly think the reason the Joker 2 was a musical they put musical numbers in there was because the director didn't want to do a second one, and they pretty much forced it on him, and he pretty much did that as a fu to the studio. I honestly think so. I think Tom Phillips did it for that reason. Certainly, 2024's lows have been exceedingly low, particularly given the year's high-profile misses. Past failures like Dark Phoenix or Spawn were especially surprising. And Joker, meanwhile, was the sequel to a beloved one plus billion box office bonanza launched at the heart of a war season. Was well, the thing was, if you look at what Joker One was about, I mean, Joker was its own story, and it was pretty good the way it was done. It was about a character. It didn't have to necessarily to be about the Joker, but it was about a character who'd been downtrodden for by society for so long, where he pretty much snapped and had enough, and it pretty much showed you that any person who's been stepped on for so long, it can happen to anyone. That's what that film showed you, and I like that. Madam Web, meanwhile, assembled some of the buzziest young talent: Dakota Johnson and Sydney Sweeney. Oh, I think Sydney Sweeney was the one that said that, oh, it was men's fault of the fact that Madam Web failed at the box office and around for a new superhero outing. Even the Crow had nowhere to go but after a string of direct-to-video turkeys exploiting the original Brandon Lee feature. But no, you can't. This is the thing. Not notice how this article's trying to trying to say, oh, it's not completely their fault. No, it's the film's fault. Look, the direct-to-video Bad Crow films had nothing to do with the failure of of this Crow film. This Crow film failed on its own, and it was its own fault. And the fact is, that was not a Crow film. If that Crow film followed the comics, and they also used the structure on how the first Crow film would, it would have done a lot better. But it honestly felt like a superhero film, and while you could while you could say, oh well, the Crow does have like superhero powers, but it doesn't present the Crow doesn't present himself as a superhero. The Crow is pretty much an avenger of the people that have been wronged. That's what he is. And while I haven't seen it, I pretty much heard that it's pretty much boring. It's pretty much boring on when it should have been. The film should be about Eric Draven getting revenge on the ones that killed him and his girlfriend and killed him and Shelley. That's what The Crow is about. That's what people want to see. But even with hopeful elements in play, these and other 2024 superhero films became critical punching bags and box office failures, and deservedly so. It was their fault. Madam Web will forever be remembered as a movie that spawned Fraser like he was in Amazon with my mom when she was researching spiders right before she died. But I don't have a neuromuscular disorder rather than any bold artistic wings. Similarly, Joker's historical terrible word of mouth will greatly inform its pop culture representation. As for The Crow, not enough people saw that feature for its defects to inspire mocking memes. Oh, no. I'm sure there are memes about The Crow's failures. It's just that they don't want to talk about it. Um, this is the thing. There were, but while the main ones, while these films, the major ones, the major big budgeted films failed, especially the superhero ones. Um, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. While it did fail, I don't think it failed as hard as people want to say it did, because that was a seriously good film. It got delayed, but the thing is, the delays were not the film's fault. And also, you had films like the Indian film Kill, a fantastic film. I would honestly say that film alone was better than the films that the article I was just talking about were talking about. Like that, the Crow. I mean, Kill was better than the Crow, better than Madam Web, better than Joker combined, as far as I'm concerned. And also, what was the I'm trying to think. Well, and Terrifier 3. I would also say Terrifier 3 was better than those films, because when I went to the cinema to watch Terrifier 3, that film was absolutely packed out. There was only two seats left, and that was for me and my brother, and we just had a great time watching it, because that horror film did not feel like a big budget horror film. It did not feel like a Hollywood horror film, and I'm glad Terrifier is not that. Terrifier's got its own identity, and that's all I like. Um, anyway, so there you go. So as far as superhero films, I'm gonna say this: Superman's coming out next year. Even if it does well, I honestly, with how bad Warner Brothers is doing right now, and in the stock in the on the stock market, I honestly don't think they're going to be able to. I honestly don't think they're going to be able to do too many of these big budget superhero films as far as DC goes. Obviously Disney just doesn't give a damn about how much money they waste, because they're gonna churn out their same old crap no matter what, because I mean they just keep on having bomb after bomb. Wicked's pretty much the exception, but as far as Wicked goes, Wicked is not going to be enough to for is not going to be enough to carry all the failures that Disney has had, and they've had a lot of failures for the past few years. So yeah, you got one victory out of, I'll say probably I'll say probably 20 failures, and the 20 failures are gonna just put so much weight on that one win. Anyway, the next one I'm gonna talk about is Vince McMahon. Now, I'm a wrestling fan myself. I watch the current Raw at the moment. I'm more of a WWE person, but I'm going to talk about the Vince McMahon allegations. Now, remember, this is obviously a year talking about some of the big things that I consider were big to me anyway. Anyway, here we go. Vince McMahon and WWE accused of rampant sexual exploitation of young boys by announcer in new lawsuit. Defendants were fully aware of the systematic and pervasive abuse and did nothing to prevent or stop it, the law firm representing the claimant said. The thing is, I noticed most of a lot of the acute it seems to me, this is just me. I don't think WWE itself has as much to blame as far as Vince does himself. I think Vince on this, it's pretty much Vince who was the one that was doing a lot of this perverse shit, as far as I'm concerned. Because when you look at all these allegations, Vince is right there, and even Maven said when he was on Piers Morgan, even Maven even said Vince wasn't even doing this out there in the open, because even he said that I didn't see any of this, because if this was out in the open, he would have. Even he said I would have saw something, but he said I didn't. And Maver doesn't even work for the company. He hasn't worked for the company in God knows how long. Um, Vince McMahon, WWE have been accused of knowing about and failing to stop the sexual exploitation of young boys by Ringside announcer in a lawsuit filed on behalf of five alleged victims Wednesday. I knew about the Ring Boys scandal. I mean, that's insane. These scandals are just all tied directly to Vince. I think it's pretty much Vince. and I would also have to include in John Laurinaitis as well. Um, the suit filed in Baltimore County, Maryland, accuses McMahon and his wife Linda McMahon and WWE and its parent company TKO Holdings of allowing the open rampant abuse. Hang on a minute. How the hell can TKO have anything to do with the rampant abuse that happened when TKO bought WWE back when WrestleMania happened? How did they have anything to do with this? Allowing abuse of the so-called ring boys. The ring boys scandal happened in the 80s. TK Holdings was I don't think was a TK Holdings was obviously not around then. I mean, this like I said, these allegations are all tied directly to Vince. TK Holding has no responsibility whatsoever. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen to them because there is no concrete proof or evidence to say that TK Holdings or even Linda McMahon. You can even say Linda McMahon pretty much has no ties to this. Vince, Vince's behavior throughout the years is pretty much obvious as far as I'm concerned. Um, of allowing the rampant abuse of so-called ring boys as young as 12, who acted as assistants to ringside announcer Melvin Phillips Jr. in the 1980s and 90s. TKO and WWE did not immediately respond to requests for comments. Phillips died in 2012. Jessica Rosenberg, attorney for Vince McMahon of the Akin Strauss Howe and Feld law firm, said in a statement to NBC News that claims mentioned in the lawsuit, first reported by the New York Post in the early 90s, were false. More than 30 years ago, the columnist Phil Mushnick tried to make headlines with these same false claims. Those allegations were never proven, ultimately became the subject of defamation lawsuit against Mr. Mushnick, Rosenberg said. The negligence claims against Mr. McMahon were asserted today rely on these same absurd, defamatory, and utterly meritless statements by Mr. Mushnick. And by the way, the woman, I forgot what her name is, on where she said that, on where she said a certain an MMA fighter that Vince sent her pictures. The thing is, it's her word against um, Brock Lesnar's because it was pretty much obvious she meant Brock Lesnar. But the thing is, there is no direct proof to say that Brock Lesnar had any direct involvement in any of this. Now, do I believe a lot of this? I actually do believe a lot of this because it's been over the decades on where, like for example, Vince raping that female I think announcer. I forgot what her name is in the limo. That story came out when that story came out a long time ago, and obviously the Ring Boy scandal, and I'm not going to include the steroid trial. But the thing is, all these stories kept on coming up and up and up, and it's like the old saying, "There's no smoke without fire." So it's clear Vince is guilty, but obviously he's obviously got to have his day in court. He obviously has to. Anyway, we will vigorously defend Mr. McMahon and are confident the court will find that these claims are untrue and unfounded. You know what? To be honest, I honestly want the court case to just happen, so then we could just get a firm the verdict of the fact that these are what happened and we have the facts. Um, Law firms DeSello, Levetta, Murphy, Falcon, and Murphy, which filed the lawsuit, said in a statement that underage ring boys were groomed, exploited, and sexual abused by Phillips, who targeted children from broken homes. I don't know why the ring boy scandal is coming up again now because it came up before and nothing came of it. So why bring it up now? I don't understand why they're bringing this up, all this up again. The suit alleges that the five unidentified claimants were sexually assaulted not only at wrestling events but also at hotels and other venues. And the thing is, you can't include Phillips in this because Mel Phillips is dead. Phillips lured and manipulated 12 and 13-year-old boys with the promise of meeting wrestling stars, it claims. The suit alleges that Phillips would abuse the claimants in his dressing room while recording incidents with a video camera. Two of the claimants are from Massachusetts, two are from Pennsylvania, and one's from Florida. They are referred to as John Dolls. Obviously, they're going to be referred to as John Dolls. And the suit accuses the McMahons of long knowing Phillips' peculiar and unnatural interest in young boys. It would be more so Vince that would have known. Probably Pat Patterson, but Linda McMahon. I mean, where's the proof that Linda McMahon even knew about this? Because Vince was the one that interacted the most the with the locker room and the wrestlers. I mean, Linda was pretty much an office person when you think about it. And Greg Gutzler, a partner at DeCello Livet, who was leading their litigation, said that it was simply conscienceable that so many were allegedly aware of the abuse and did nothing to stop it. Thanks to the bravery of our clients, we finally have a chance to hold accountable those who allowed and enabled the open rampant sexual abuse of these young boys, he said. If it was open and rampant, let's say that it's open and rampant, if it was open and rampant, there would have been more people involved in the Ring Boy scandal. But the Ring Boy scandal is the Ring Boy scandal is they don't exactly say specific people. They just say WWE, TKO, Vince and Linda. But then who else? Who else would you say is involved? That's the problem with this lawsuit, as far as the Ring Boys scandal lawsuit. Um, McMahon fired Phillips in 1988. The suit alleges after allegations were made about the announcer's behaviour, only to rehire him 6 weeks later on the condition that he stay away from kids. The suit adds he did not, and they knew it. Um, a six a 6 part documentary McMahon released last month centered on several accusations of misconduct against McMahon, including the case by that's it Janelle Grant. Yeah, I did see it myself online, the lawsuit, and it's really bad. Vince is obviously not going to get out. Obviously not going to get out of this. And I will say this: that Netflix documentary, Vince did not make himself look any better. If anything, I think he came off. I think he came off worse than Vince did. The more he talked about it, the more he talked. When you think about it, you come off with the fact that Vince is a really weird person, and more weirder than I thought. I mean, that story about his own son. I got to admit, I'd actually felt sorry for Shane, to be honest. If you've seen the documentary, I think you know what I'm talking about when Paul Heyman talks about it. Then, because even Shane even said that all he wanted was just a hug from his dad, and I think that tells you what you need to know about their relationship. Um, Anyway, the last bit I'm going to talk about, and is still wrestling related. Now, I honestly think this is like one of the biggest shocking stories I've ever seen. WWE's Raw will go to Netflix. No one would have ever predicted this was going to happen. WWE's multi-billion-dollar deal with Netflix has quickly become an historic event for the promotion, and with Dwayne Johnson's official TKO board membership being announced simultaneously, big things are happening. Nick Khan recently appeared on the Pat McAfee show, where he explained how the deal with Netflix came to fruition. Khan stated by recounting WWE's history with USA Network and praised the current deals they have. Fast forward to Netflix and NBC, U and USA and Peacock. We think we're in business with two good partners, he continued, explaining that they shifted focus to getting a deal for WWE Raw. Once they secured WWE SmackDown, it was a robust marketplace. We had a lot of meetings, there was a lot of interest, a high number of offers despite multiple suitors. WWE ended up going with Netflix, and Khan explained that the freedom was a major deciding factor for both the promotion as well as Netflix. The fact that they came to us and said, we strike a deal and you guys do all the rest, is something that they like, and certainly something in our wheelhouse. Additionally, he revealed that the deal came together in a couple of months. In a couple of months, you know what? That, I mean, that's pretty quick. I mean, that's really quick, especially on and how big this deal how big this deal is, because this is seriously a major deal. Because the way I see this is, if this is a successful as if it can be, I honestly see other sports, other sports going to streaming services instead, like Amazon, maybe Facebook. Who knows? Especially if this ends up working out, and also at the end of the 10-year relationship, that Netflix and WWE decide to renew the deal. Because the thing is, I guarantee you, every sport, whenever it's soccer, American football, or basketball, they're gonna be looking at this. They're gonna be looking at this with eagle eyes, because if this works out, and then this is going to work out for them. Lastly, Khan was asked about the response to the deal backstage in WWE. Overwhelmingly positive. If you look at the streaming wars, Netflix has sat at the top of the perch and continued to sit at the top of the perch. Khan also noted that the deal will grow both the universe, audience, as well as the Netflix subscriber base. I honestly do believe that Netflix subscriber count is going to go up with this. There's no way it won't. And they're also going to add their classic content as well, if I'm correct as well. But they're adding that like slowly. He added that friends and family have been reacting positively to the deal based on the texts he received. So yeah. That, there you go. That's my live stream. And thanks for watching this, and hopefully I'll do more live streams in the future. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.